Okay, see, that needs to adjust. That needs to adjust. What I might do is I might speed up a little bit just because some of these are quite clear, so I don't want to obviously go through one by one. But look, these 3 days I'm going to merge, right? So this day I wouldn't have merged, new day I would have merged, right? And I would have drawn lines and I would have cut that out, but just to save time, obviously I'm going to merge it with that one as well. So I recognize it wouldn't happen obviously all at the same time. I would have had 2 days merged and I would have drawn it in and cut, and then I would have done it. But just to save time, I'm just going to do it all in one go. So let's cut that. Hope it's becoming clear what I'm doing here now. Okay, guys. So all of these, we're no longer using them. See, it's no coincidence. Point of control, big value was there, then it was there. You'll see little things like this all the time that make you stop and think, oh, okay, that's what the market is trying to achieve, giving you little clues. So here we've got a new day where we've obviously gapped. We haven't necessarily, let me just have a look at this. Yeah, we closed there and then we gapped up, didn't we? So obviously I'm not going to merge that with that, right? Then this day comes in. It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one, isn't it? I don't want to keep repeating myself, but you can see it's very tricky. I'm not going to merge them. Do you remember I said, if in doubt, open it up. See, what's the market trying to achieve? And here we spent such a huge amount of time outside of balance. I'm not going to merge those two, I'll be honest with you. That makes sense to me. And I've got a pretty good composite here. And there you can see, I'm not going to do this, obviously I keep saying it, I'm not going to do it all the time, but you can see some decent value being built here and trading opportunities to get short and target what? Previous composite. Again, it happened over 2 days this time. Multi-day holds. I've noticed this. Do you know what? I've noticed this so much over the last few years. As my obviously understanding of value has got better and better, it's just become clear to me that I am shortchanging myself a lot by, you know, I might get short here, take my profits, book profits, be done for the day, smooth equity curve, I told you already. I could potentially be holding some of this stuff much longer, but it's not a negative thing. You always got to recognize potential opportunities you're missing out on and do something about it. I don't dwell on the past, I don't care. You know, I've had an amazing career up till now, and, you know, trading has given me an amazing lifestyle, you know, according to how the sort of things I want to be doing. And so I'm very grateful. So don't get me wrong that, you know, I have any regrets. It's not that. I'm always thinking, how can I improve? And this is one of the things, I'll be honest with you, and I'm showing you just because it, like I said, I like to say these things as they crop up, is I have noticed this a lot, is the market will achieve what the expectations are. It just won't necessarily do it in one day or in a smooth motion. So, you know, it's kind of that trade-off I told you about where, you know, do you want a smooth equity curve or do you want a curve like that? But at the end of the period, you end up with obviously, and sometimes you could argue, you know what, it matters what's in the bank account at the end of the month. And if at the end of the month, you're going to end up with that much rather than that much, but you may have had to take more drawdown and it's a bit more lumpy, but manageable, why don't you do it this way? Each to their own. I'm just pointing these things out to you so you're aware of them. For most of my career, I've always preferred this smoother curve and just accepted that I may make less at the end of the month, but you can always make that up by obviously trading bigger size. But again, that has its trade-offs as well, psychologically and risk-wise. Obviously, it has its trade-offs. So, you know, just trying to point those things out to you. So, yeah, I said I'm not going to merge those two, but this and this, pretty good balance, I think. Clear balance. So you can split these out, right? Do you remember I said to you that was up there, we came down into this period, so I would split the profile here, and in fact probably even we don't want to do that. Undo this profile split. We can probably just get rid of that whole TPO that came in. Okay, so as I said, I want you to be doing this stuff, and then if like me you want to drop it, you can. So we've got balance here, and funny enough, so I've changed my mind now. It's very much on the edge, isn't it? Majority of the time was below. Nah, just nothing doing there. And in fact, you can see it came down, respected the edge of previous value very well. Same here. We initially would have been rotational overnight. The condition changed because we broke out the value area low, and potentially you would have had some shorting opportunities, and you might have tried to get short there. Obviously, you know, you're not going to win 100% of the time. That could have been a stop out or even a break even, or depending on how you manage it. Again, we'll get into that later. Then we very much come back in. No merging. Not going to merge that and that, am I? I'm not going to merge that and that. That and that. You could argue, you see, again, it's a grey area, and this I want to be honest with you and show you that it isn't perfect. You're going to have to learn to make decisions for yourself, which, look, at the end of the day, no one's a child watching this. You make decisions. I totally respect you, and I know you make decisions in your work every day. I know you're perfectly capable of doing it. I don't mean to say learn to make decisions as in generally, of course not. I totally get it. In most things in life, you're probably making a million times better decisions than I ever am. I'm just talking specifically when it comes to this. Apply what you already have, just apply it here and just try and use a bit of logic, and you know, you're going to do very well if you do that, and just accept. Do you know what? It's not perfect. There's different people in this marketplace with different perceptions of value, and I just got to try and work around that basically to the best of my ability. And actually, it's a great advantage because I keep saying it. Algorithm can't do it, you can. So I'm in two minds about this. I like to just make a decision and go with it. You see, if these were quite balanced in the sense that had decent balance, and this just maybe had some nice overlapping, and this is the key decision maker for me. If this had good balance, it doesn't, does it? It was quite a strong trend day. And if you think about it, what are trend days? Obviously, I did say I don't like to use the word trend day, but it is used in that book, Markets in Profile. But I mean it more in terms of profile, a trend day, imbalance day, in terms of profile. We didn't really build any value anywhere here, did we? We tried, but really we just had a lot of imbalance. It's like what you call the triple distribution day. Really, because of that, if it was nice, this was nice, this was nice, I would have merged these three. Sorry, that is a terrible drawing there. Don't know what I was doing. But it wasn't. So I'm going to leave it. Let's move on. Clearly that and that, I'm going to merge these two. You see, you can't split this out. If this had happened first and this second, you could have split this out and merged it. But you see, this got in the way. So you got no choice but to just merge it as is. I'll show you what I mean. You can split this out, right? And actually, I didn't do that correctly. Sorry, just bear with me. Join it back up. You can split this outright, but the problem is you can't merge this with this because that's in the way. So you have to merge all of them anyway. So for me, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's good enough. So what I'll do is I will. That's a decent bit of value. There's a little bit of overlap here. It's not ideal, is it? Obviously, I'm going to get rid of this now, right? Can either go all the way back to that, just chop it off, cut drawing here. Or if you want, you can just cut it, you know, in this area just before it starts. So because they're very close together, these two, I don't like, obviously if this was down here, I would have cut this, but the clue's in the profile. very little volume traded here. The market's still happy to respect this area, so I'm just going to leave it. No harm in just leaving it. Again, I'm sorry, I know I cover some of this stuff. I did say at the start I would, but unfortunately there's nothing I can do about that. Sorry, just give me a second. So the next day we rejected the point of control, which I don't know if I've forgot to mark this on all the previous ones I've been, but I think I've got the point of control in most of them. But anyway, so we rejected, we came down and obviously bounced at the next. We went straight through the value area and then we came down and bounced off the point of control. Then we had this day, clearly no merging. These two clearly going to merge them. Okay. Guys, I've been doing this for years, and actually if you go back to even my very first IGTV videos, you'll see this going on my charts. You'll see all of this, and now you can see what I'm doing essentially. I believe we had a big gap up. Just double check. That's why I like to show you crude, because crude can be a bit crazy at times, so it forces us to make decisions. So we gapped up. Obviously that was a huge fundamental event. No merging there. I'm not going to merge that. Then we came in here and this day and this day, I'm not going to, there's a little bit of overlap, but we spent the bulk of the day outside of this value area. Okay. See that? And this was value here, and bulk of value. Like I said, if you're not sure, I keep saying it, but it's important because it's the first time you're seeing it. Just open it up, see what the market tried to do. I agree it came back in, but that was towards the end of the day. It wasn't enough for me. If I had seen this much volume coming back later into the day, yeah, I would merge them, but I didn't. Again, make a decision. To me, my perception of value might be different to yours, but that happens. And it's true what I say, right? You and I, if we're on eBay or wherever, it doesn't matter where we are, Tesco, eBay, Amazon, whatever, our perceptions of value for something can sometimes be different, and it plays itself out even here. So, look, I'll merge them just to show you that what it looks like, and you could argue, Envy, it looks all right to me. Fine, go with it, see what happens. Does the market agree with you or not? And that's how you'll learn. At the end of the day, it's normal, isn't it? Even if we're on eBay, whatever it is, Amazon, I keep going on about this stuff, but this stuff isn't beyond you, because you've got to accept, even in the real world, if you and I are bidding on something on eBay, are we going to have the identical perception of value? Of course not. It wouldn't be a marketplace. The world wouldn't be able to function if we always thought everything was exactly the same. It wouldn't work like that. So, you know, if you want to merge them and market, do it. I'm not going to. And then look, it eventually evened itself out anyway, right? Because I'm obviously going to merge this and this. And then this day came in and the whole thing gets merged, all right? So, okay, I'm skipping merging and drawing, but that's because obviously, you know, I want to, I'm conscious of time and I just want to start to speed this process up a little bit. I keep saying that, but I'm not doing it. Okay, so we've got that. Again, I do like to mark these point of controls. I know I keep saying it, but it's up to you if you mark them or not. I just want to repeat one of the rules. Don't forget, this went balanced. Where's the expectation? Other side of balance, okay? And actually, do you know what? This, I thought I'd undone every single split in this chart. So obviously I could start again because obviously I want to merge them all back up for you. I think I may have forgotten this one for some weird reason. But anyway. So yeah, these are 3 separate days. So obviously we've had this rotation environment that we're going balanced. Then I would merge obviously that, right? And you would have balance area here. I'm not going to draw it in and then cut it and then not cut it, but obviously I would merge it with that and then adjust it and so on and so forth. Or I would have cut this area out. So I'm just going to do it all in one go, just obviously to save time. But yeah, apologies about that. I thought that I had unmerged every single thing in this chart to do it from scratch, but anyway, happens. So clearly I'm gonna either put it up to there, or it doesn't really matter. I'll just put it up there, be neat, and move on, essentially. So this area is a very balanced period, but as we know, crude oil this year has been completely crazy in the sense that we've had loads of imbalance. It's been a historical year, so that's why I really want to just fly through a lot of this, because I want to show you different environments and how. Throw anything at me and I'll make a decision. Okay, that's the key to really building edges, you know. So this whole period is imbalanced, 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 imbalanced. And just to keep reiterating a lot of what I do say, but it's a good reminder for you. You see, this day, we didn't really have anything to key off. Like this area was obviously quite above it. So you can always key off this, you know. So we opened in a rotational environment. You might have taken a little hit and then we go build value and then you can take an imbalance trade down. And you can actually see here, there is trading that's taken place historically in this area. I'm not going to go back there, but you probably have a composite there to help you build expectations of. But as I said, there's only so far back you can go. So I'm going to speed through a little bit. So if I make any blatant mistakes, I do apologize. This, and this, I'm going to merge them, I think. I'm at least going to see what they look like. Yeah, you see that? That's pretty good, isn't it? This is obviously not going to merge with that. Then we come back in. I don't really like these three. I've mentioned it before. I want to see just a little bit more within here. If you merge it, it's not wrong, okay? At the end of the day, I don't want to keep repeating the same point. Just make a decision and run with it. It's your perception of value. I talked about it a few minutes ago. Just make a decision and move on. These two, clearly you're going to be merging them. Okay, that I'm going to obviously keep it. This you can see I'm going to cut this, aren't I? Cuts there. Okay, get rid of that point of control. Didn't put that point of control in. Apologies, I'm trying to speed it up a little bit because we have got a good 6 months left to go, haven't we? And I want to give you a good, as I said, sort of range of scenarios where you're inevitably going to face in the future. So we've merged that. That's outside of balance. Clearly no merge there. This point is, obviously you're going to be trading this as in a rotational way, targeting what? Other side of balance. You see the market has respected this for multiple days. So this would have been hopefully a great period of alpha generation for you, because you've identified confluence here between the edge here, the value area low here, and the value area high here, confluence, and then taking trades off here. And we'll look at this when we introduce the VWAP, obviously. Okay, so clearly I'm going to merge these one by one, then I'll have a new line, then a merge. So what I mean is I'd merge that, then I would draw a new area here. Going to get rid of this, right? Then I'm just going to keep merging them and adjusting, merging and adjusting. So I'm not going to do that now. That I wouldn't bring it in, but then the next day comes in and I would merge all of them. Right, hopefully that's making sense to you. Okay, so I would adjust. I would have been adjusting obviously every time I brought in a new merge. That day we broke out of rotation. What's the expectation? To go in balance, stay in balance, go to the next. You can see the power in this. Built up value, went in balance, target, edge of the next profile, the next composite. as I said in hesitance to even use the word rules, but expectation to go to the previous balance, typically composite. So okay, we move on. So I'd be using all of these historical levels to trade off until we get new perceptions of value. So we had this imbalanced day, imbalanced, balance, balance, balance. Okay, so I wouldn't, obviously I'd be trading this as a rotational day based on this earlier composite I'd marked, then would merge with the next profile, and essentially you can see this becomes redundant, doesn't it? Now, because I'm rushing, I know I haven't been marking these edges. It's up to you if you want to do it. Like I said, I go through periods where I mark them and I don't. But you can see it starts to become a little bit messy. It will be quite clear when we're on the VWAP chart. This will be nicely spread out, so don't worry too much. But sometimes I go through periods. What it is look, it's not that I'm just arbitrarily deciding I don't want it. You'll see there's always logic behind everything I'm doing. So I would probably maintain it whilst it's being respected, is my point, right? So here we're respecting the edge of this old value, even though sorry, that hadn't actually formed at the time, but the second day, once this is formed, so here we respected it. But then here, look, we just ignored it. We kind of built value over it. So let's get rid of it. And same with, I don't know what this is, but it's probably a previous point of control or something. Get rid of that. Again, you can split this out, but it's only going to be half and half a day. I'm not going to merge them anyway, so why even bother? Then this day comes in, goes rotational, and you see it respects this historical composite. This respects here. Can you see, guys? Market respects value. Why? Because I said it before when I was building the expectations framework. This is how algorithms are programmed, not because they've come up with this amazing rule, but because it's how it works in the marketplace. I've gone through this so many times. This is why I went through and spent so much time in auction market theory, so you understand. Market's always looking for old value. Do you remember milk? Something happened, disruption, fundamental disruption, whatever. And it happens in oil. Oil has what? Supply, disruption, demand, disruptions. And always go and seek old areas where we've established, where the market's happy to trade. It's obvious. It's auction market theory at its finest. That's all it is. Don't think of this as rules. Think of it as, logically, this makes sense to me. I see it happening in the marketplace. This is just a marketplace. Okay, so, but anyway, with regards to this particular exercise, there's nothing for us to do. They're all imbalanced days. We come here. I'm not going to merge any of this stuff. They're all just so outside of each other in terms of value. Then we come in to this period. Again, like I said, it can get a bit messy because you're marking the point of controls. It's up to you. I like to have them. If you don't want them, get rid of them. But I find that they're very important for me. So you know, this dotted blue line is the point of control of the composite, right? So even here, I forgot to mark it, didn't I? I'm just taking off there. Okay, so this day comes in, nothing. Then the next day comes in clearly balanced. So let's merge them. Okay, and we can start cleaning this up then. Okay, so clearly this profile, I'm going to cut it, and this, I'm going to cut it. Agreed? Because what? This balance overlapped this. So it clearly told us this is no longer an edge. Do you actually see what the market's doing here? I talked about this in task 1, where the market loves to fill in areas of low value so it can complete the auction. That's all it's done. What is this? This is just a previous balance area. This is just a previous balance area. What's the market done? Filled it in, guys. Okay, that's all it's doing. It's all it's doing all the time. Okay, so this isn't ideal. It's a trend day, but I probably would merge it anyway because it's overlapping. It's not the greatest, but just make a decision and move on. Got bigger things to worry about. Okay, obviously I'm gonna merge that because we haven't gone anywhere, right? Just haven't gone anywhere. Easy decision to make. I'm just gonna keep merging these and adjusting them throughout this whole period. So I'm not gonna do it for every single one. Obviously, as every day comes along, you just keep merging and adjusting and trading in a rotational environment. This should be an incredibly profitable period because you're just doing what? Do you remember the expectation? You're in a, how did I write it out? Rotation expectation is obviously to stay rotational, so you see that in the conditions framework, and then expectation is just to test the other side of balance. You're just going to be constantly playing this as a rotational environment. Okay, so eventually you would end up with that. Mark the point of control. Okay, I hope this is useful for you. Do you see I'm not skipping days? Just every single day for almost a whole year. So you've seen, you know. Don't want to sound like a broken record, but this is how it is, guys. And I hope you can see there is no perfect indicator. Don't exist. Go stop. Dump all that stuff. Perfect indicator is you. Start to have confidence in your own abilities, and I know you do. Again, it's not I'm not trying to speak to anyone like a child, because at the end of the day, I've said this before, many of you are older than me. I've got a lot of respect for you, and what you've probably achieved in life is 10 times better than what I'll ever achieve. But when it comes to trading in particular, I've been very fortunate to have seen the light, essentially, that I'm not going to let some squiggly line dictate to me what I should be thinking. No, let me make the decision, right? I hope you see it's a good thing that we have all these gray areas because we can start to add alpha. So again, I could split this out, but because it's only half a day and 1 day, I'm not going to, but play around with it, you know? So like I said, you can split it out if you want. And actually, I wouldn't split because you see most of that period is within this balance, so you don't want to just undo this. So what you want to do is you want to actually split it there. Okay, so that you can, in theory, merge it and have a composite there, but I don't do it, okay? So I'm not going to mark it, but in theory, if you really wanted to, you could change it up. There's nothing wrong with it, because this is a very strong composite. Obviously, the more days you have, it's going to take something big for me to get rid of this, but here, what was it, Wednesday, Thursday, it was a pretty small composite, wasn't it? Yeah, it's just 2 days. I've lost my place, unfortunately. Yeah, I said you could merge this, isn't it? But I'm not going to, so get rid of that. But you can if you want. We've gone in balance, then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So look, I'm not going to do them one by one by one. Clearly, there you're going to do nothing. Next day, you're going to merge it, and you're just going to keep doing that, right? Here. Okay, so nice overlap here, and look how the market just respected that area very well. Okay, so it's going to pick up the pace now. So clearly this day comes in, nothing. This day I would merge it with that day, then I'm going to do the same here and here. Okay. Okay, now obviously I'm going to cut this. So I did say I apologize because I'm going so fast, I may forget sometimes to mark the point of controls, but because don't forget, I'm only doing this literally once a day, if that. If there's a merge, then I'll mark it, otherwise I won't. Obviously, right now I'm trying to do it about, you know, a couple of hundred times, so and at pace, so it may unfortunately forget to mark that point of control. So here is a tricky one. So you come in, let's have a look. It's pretty good. I mean, it's that grey area. Do you see what I mean? We've actually, normally I say, oh, if we just spend a couple of TPO periods within here, I'm not going to mark it. But here, we spent a decent amount of time, at least 50%, and market clearly rejected going in balance. I'm going to merge them. Keep saying it. If you don't agree with me, it's fine. There's no, and I've said this before, obviously if you start to merge something up here with this, or if we're clearly out of value and you're merging it, then of course I'm going to say, look, maybe you shouldn't do that, but you're not doing that. So we're going to mark, well, it's going to cut this. And I'm actually going to cut this as well. Because what? We developed the volume right over the top of that value area high. So, right, we developed volume right over that. Okay, so this day comes in, I'm not going to merge it. This day comes in, I'll merge the two. Right, I'll have a new profile here and I'll just cut. Do you see, as new profiles and new investors come in and perception of value, don't worry about it looking messy. It won't. It will sort itself out very quickly, because look, it's already starting to become quite clean. So I need to get rid of that. So I need to get rid of that. Get rid of that. Do you see it's already cleaned up this area? I'm getting rid of this. I like to have these lined up, but honestly it doesn't matter. It's just me. I'm a bit of a neat freak, but and then you've got your point of control there. See, so all of this is old now. You're only interested in this, this, this. See, it's very clean. Very, very clean. This and this, I would merge it. You see this rotational environment, but I'll merge that, and then I'll just adjust accordingly. Then this and this, I'm going to merge them. It's pretty much inside, isn't it? So, fairly clear. This one you could argue either way. You really could. I'm not going to do it, but I assume when you merge it, it looks decent. Yeah, it looks pretty decent, but I'm not going to merge it. It's amazing, even on different days, your perception of value can be different. Ask me on this particular day, who knows what I would have done, but as it stands, can you see, to me, I like to open them up sometimes and just apply a bit of logic. Look, that's why, because I could see it anyway with my eye, and I'll tell you why that is because I can see the open and close. Can you see the blue open and the close? So I knew that the bulk of it had built in a manner that was above. So even though, yeah, I agree we came back in the last period, ultimately, let's be honest, bulk of value was outside. So I'm not going to merge it. That's my logic. Make a decision. Move on. You know, it's not just one day and then that's it for the rest of your life. The market's every day, right? This and this I'm not going to merge. This and this I'm not going to merge. This and this I'm not going to merge. This and this I would merge. Okay, this is a bit of a grey area, happens, but ultimately the bulk of it was outside, so I'm not going to merge that. This day comes in and really it was outside of that, so I'm not going to merge it. These two I would merge. So notice I'm not opening them up and going through the conditions right now, because obviously I just want to get a bit of a move on. So there's your rotational condition, playing either side. Then we go imbalanced, play it as an imbalanced trade. Okay. Let's mark these point of controls. See, this is a really good example of what was it? The rule on the framework is the balance to imbalance, right? If the point of control holds. So this is a really good example of that. Do you remember what I said to you? We could be in this balancing environment, right? Market opens there and it builds value on the point of control, and it starts to, sorry, my pen's a bit annoying. Every time I hold it down, it brings a circle. Apologize, just ignore that. It builds value, and then we look to break this, okay? So I've said expectation 1 to fail, because normally you'd be playing this as what? A fading environment. But here, if I see value building on the point of control and we build value and there's order flow coming in, guys, obviously pressure's building. It's like a pressure cooker. Pop, it's going to pop out of this area, isn't it? So you've got to recognize that. You've got to be very good at recognizing, and we'll look at that, how your rotational environment, market condition maybe, it's not always going to do this perfectly like that. Sometimes this value might start to build here, right? Nothing wrong with that. You know, who are we to say to people, no, you can't start to change your perception of value early? Of course you can. Of course you can. You may be just balancing here, and rather than go to the other side of balance, you may stop. Do you remember I said I like to take some profits here? We might see value building, and which we do here. And I love to preempt it. Sometimes I will look for us. I could start getting long in this area and look for us to pop out, break out, and change market condition early. The alternative is what? You wait for value to build here, which is the different condition, isn't it? It's the if value area is broken. I like to sometimes get in early there if I see obviously conditions on the VWAP and order flow coming in. You can be safe and do it there, but then you're getting in later. You're obviously risk reward, if you like to call it, is going to be different. So, you know, there's no free lunch in markets. Obviously, it's all about trade-offs. So, where were we? So anyway, so we're building these three clearly balanced. So you mark that out. The next day comes in, mark that out. Probably wouldn't mark that out because it rejected, didn't it? You can see it straight away. Went in, tried to develop, tried to test the point of control and this balance, and just rejected it and said no thank you. And earlier in the day we were out. So I'm not going to merge those guys. These two probably would merge it. See, bulk of it was inside. So I'm going to merge that. Okay, and then as you can see, the market's got a new perception of value. Okay, so clearly I'm going to cut that. Right. Go up. I'm going to merge these two. Again, very grey area, but I think it's decent. You can always see how it looks, like I said. If you're very unsure and you still logically think, well, because don't forget, I think I said this in task 1. Often, right, I won't be like really rules based around, oh, I have to use, because remember the maths is better, the statistics on the value areas, they're just statistical probability. Value areas, right, they're going to be more accurate when you use market data on a volume profile. Don't forget, market profile, it's basically using, as it's sampling variables, it's using dots or letters or whatever it is. And at the end of the day, those are like what, 3-tick periods. Don't forget, every time the market moves 3 ticks. So it's not going to be 100% accurate. So I don't mind visually thinking of value as maybe something like that, right? So can you see? For me, that's in pretty much inside, so I'm going to merge these. I tell you, I would merge them. Okay, it's not perfect, but make a decision, move on, and take responsibility for it, really, and let the market tell you. And actually, market feedback was that it agreed. Okay, it's not always going to be the case that the decision I make is the magical keys to the kingdom and this happens. It doesn't. It just so happened that the market agreed that time. There's going to be plenty of occasions where you decide to